right, guys, I am joining you through Zoom because for some reason Streamyard failed us, but this man was kind enough to stick around and multiple times try to join me here on Submission Radio to make his big debut on the program. Of course, the man behind Next Generation MMA Liverpool and fighters such as Paddy Pimblett, Paul Rimmer. Welcome to Submission Radio, man. This is fun, right? Zoom, a little bit different to usual.
Yeah, nice one for having me on.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure. Hey, I want to get into the big fight on the weekend. Ilia Topuria went in there. We saw what he did to Charles Oliveira. Did you expect the fight to go the way that it went?
To be honest with you, yeah, I did expect that fight to go the way that it went. I think I don't think Charles approaches many fights very differently for people, if that makes sense. He kind of has that same style that he tries to implement in every fight, and I think that was the wrong style for Ilia.
You know, it's interesting. Paddy Pimblett, he was on the Versus podcast, and I had a graphic that I was going to put up, but unfortunately, we're doing it through Zoom, so I'm trying to sort of get all the things going. But he basically said, and this is the quote, the game plan. What are you doing standing in the middle and swinging punches with him? This was his 47th pro fight, and he was going in there like an amateur. Are you surprised that Charles Oliveira just went out there and kind of stood with Ilia? Were you expecting a different game plan?
I mean, he didn't come out and just stand with him. He did try to initiate a takedown, but I was surprised that he was just happy to walk into his punches, to be honest with you. Yeah, I was quite surprised at that. Ilia likes to walk people down, and you don't want to do that job for him.
Well, now, dude, but it's pretty crazy, right? Like Alex Okanovsky, Max Holloway. Now we've got, obviously, Charles Oliveira. What do you make of the three guys that Ilia was able to beat back to back? Like, he's obviously number one ranked now, pound for pound.
All them guys have been in a lot of wars over the years. Let's just put it that way. So, like, you know, you're talking about someone that's beaten champions, and to beat champions, you have to have fights where you've fought the best in the divisions, and all of them guys have had a lot of hard fights over the years, and a lot of them had heavy knockouts around the time of, well, they were due to fight Ilia, shall we say? You know what I mean? So kind of like, I do get that that Ilia is a knockout artist, but he's not knocking out guys that haven't been knocked out, if that makes sense. I do really rate Ilia, and I do have his power, and we will not underestimate him at all. But like, I think in 26 professional fights, Paddy's never left the cage with a black eye.
Right. What do you make of him being ranked number one pound for pound? Is he pound for pound for you number one?
Well, he wasn't, and then he beat Charles, which makes him pound for pound number one. He's the only person who's got two belts at the minute, if you know what I mean. Like, out of the two fights that were offered, if we were offered the two fights of Ilia and Khabib, I would be more worried about the Khabib fight than the Ilia fight.
If you guys were getting ready for Islam, for example, rather than getting ready for Ilia,
sorry, you'd be more, Khabib, Islam. Sorry.
Yeah. You'd be more concerned for Islam?
I'd be more concerned for the Islam fight, to be honest with you. Yeah, you know what I mean. Islam for me is the guy in the division, the undefeated guy in the division.
Do you feel like if he was to fight Islam, you feel like Islam would beat Ilia?
That's a different thing. I'm not talking about Islam versus Ilia. I'm talking about either them two versus Paddy, if that makes sense. You know, I'm looking at like which fights are going to be more technically troubling.
Can you sort of shed some light? Why is that? What is it about Islam that sort of you believe makes him a harder challenge?
His experience in the division, to be honest with you, fighting a lot more lightweights, I would say. He is undeniably the best lightweight in the world, Islam, and now he's moved up to welterweight. I think you'll you'll get to see whether or not he can make the jump. I believe that Ilia um, could have had tougher fights for that belt, like Sarukian or one of them guys. But we are where we are, and fortunately for us, the guy that he wants to fight is Paddy.
Yeah, I saw that. Did you see the Dricus du Plessis video where he was saying you guys were fighting Justin Gaethje at UFC 319?
Yeah, I don't really give a crap about what videos or anyone says. I just literally wait to get a text off Paddy's manager saying we've got this date and this is the opponent. Other than that, I don't listen to anyone.
Were you guys getting ready for Justin Gaethje for UFC 319?
No, it's not a thing. It's not like I say, no one's mentioned that name to us at all.
Mm. You know what? It could have been a name that potentially the UFC thought about before this fight even happened, like the Ilia Topuria fight, because now you went in the Paddy went in the cage with Ilia. He did the face off. You shared the video. Paddy predicted this, right? Like he said, "Oh, he'll probably call me into the ring and he'll call me a blonde bitch." It's
Yeah, we knew
exactly what happened.
he's very predictable earlier. That's what I'm saying. We know what's going to happen before it happens, really, with it.
Mm. What were you surprised at how the face-off went in the octagon? Any pickups there? One of the obvious pickups was is the difference in size, right? Like Paddy is a lot bigger than Ilia
Hmm.
Topuria.
He's a lot bigger than Ilia Topuria, um, but he's also better than Ilia Topuria. That's the thing. That's what a lot of people don't see. Everyone just kind of like writes Paddy off in every fight that he has, but we know what Paddy is.
Mm.
It's time for people to find out what that is.
Just for those people that are writing Paddy off, what are they overlooking about Paddy and what he's bringing into this Ilia Topuria fight? If this is the next fight that the UFC lock in.
Because most fans are casuals, that's the thing. And most of them don't like or want Paddy to win. So they just come up with mad reasons why Paddy will not or won't do these things. They don't look at technical skill. Most coaches don't look at technical skill in MMA. They think they do, but they don't actually look at what's going on a lot of the time. So like I don't expect, like say, casual fans to kind of understand the intricacies of what makes Paddy good or what makes this other person good or anything that sort of stuff. They just kind of see what they want to see in a vague sort of view. They'll be like, "Oh, Paddy will out grapple Ilia." Okay, that's very vague. That's like super super vague. Ilia's going to knock Paddy out. Oh, is he? Okay, how is that going to happen? That's also vague. Do you know what I mean? Like people just make vague statements to other people that are like, oh yeah, I see what you mean there. But realistically, they have no weight in what they're saying. The so like I said, I don't really listen to anyone about anything or opinions because everyone's got one. They're all different.
Mm. Kind of preview what that fight looks like on the feet because we saw so many improvements from Paddy. He looked really good against Michael Chandler. And like you said, like a lot of people are like, oh, like he'll take the way that he wins is if he takes Ilia Topuria's back. But on the feet, how would you see that the exchanges go against Ilia Topuria with Paddy Pimblett?
Well, obviously, I see them going in Paddy's favor because
Of course.
otherwise we wouldn't be training the way that we train to kind of take him out. But I mean, for example, you can look at Paddy's last few fights to see that his distant management is like greatly improved. You can see that he hits a lot harder, and I've got to give a ton of credit to the person that probably doesn't get the most credit for that, which is Ellis Hampson from the gym. Ellis is like one of the best striking coaches in the world. He understands perfectly how to get the best out of Paddy and the things that need to be worked on, and we've been working very hard on him, and it's showing in all his fights. Everyone's saying how can he improve so quick? How does he get better so quick? Well, like I say, he is a student of the game. He's one of the hardest workers in the sport. Don't let the little bit of weight gain after a big fight make what you think about him. All fighters do that. Just Paddy's more public than a lot of the other fighters, so you see him more.
Mm. Is it just me, or has he kind of in the last fight looked like he really grew into his frame? Like he's always been big for the division, but physically, how much stronger do you think he might be than Ilia Topuria if they do fight next?
So Paddy's strong, but he has other physical attributes that you don't know about until you feel him. I'm not going to go into what they are here, but I reckon Paddy's the sort of person where someone will come to spar or fight him and be like, bah, I'm going to do this to him. And then when they're in, they're like, wow, I couldn't do anything to him. He just was all over me. Okay. There's like different types of strength, and people don't kind of understand that. You have like isometric strength, you have like um just like raw muscle strength. There's a lot of different types of strength that people have. And it's not just weight strength. Okay. Otherwise, the guy that lifts the most weights would be the best grappler or the best wrestler. Okay, it's not like that. Like people have different physical attributes that make up how someone feels when you're grappling with them or when you're striking with them or whatever.
Mm. Dude, it's interesting as well because both guys have a bit of history. Obviously, they got into it a little while back. How far ago did you guys start looking at Ilia Topuria as a puzzle and start sort of get ready for him? Is this now going to be when you really start getting into the game planning and figuring him out? Because I get a feeling from you that you've sort of been keeping an eye on him for a while now.
We've already done it. We already knew this fight was going to be coming about. Once Paddy broke the top 10 and Ilya talked about moving up to lightweight, we were already expecting this to happen. So we've already been watching and working on it for a while. The best thing for us is watching him fight more
Hmm.
against lightweights. You know, Charles is a great one for us because he shows you kind of what not to do in a lot of fights. Um, so like I say, with the Chandler fight, we watched Charles fight Chandler, and then we used a load of stuff that Charles didn't do in that fight that he should have done, and used that to make up the victory in the last one. So we just watched Charles fight Ilya now, and there's a lot of stuff you can see in the fight that you shouldn't do against Ilya. So like I say, we learn constantly.
So you were able to pick up a few, it was a short fight, but you were able to pick up a couple of things from that one that you can use going into this fight.
Yeah, there's it's information. It's like I say, it's knowing what you're kind of looking for in terms of um his weaknesses and stuff like that. You know, you everyone thinks like Ilya's this like un, unbeatable bogeyman that's like in the division that's like you should fear him and all that sort of stuff. But Paddy's also fighting a long win streak, and I can tell you this right now. If you had to go and find a sparring partner that matches exactly what Paddy is and exactly what Ilya is, I'd be able to find a better Ilya than I can a Paddy. I can tell you that right now.
Mm. Do you feel like Ilia Topuria might be underestimating a little bit of what you guys are bringing into this fight?
And that is what one of Paddy's strengths is. Please underestimate him. Please don't think he's going to do these things. Please think you're going to walk through him. It's just not going to happen.
Hey, in terms of timeline, what would be the ideal timeline for you guys to get this fight going?
Whenever Paddy's ready and he wants to do it, I think Ilya said he's ready to do it before the end of the year. Paddy will be ready to go before the end of the year, no problem.
Mm. This is kind of the fight that feels like it should be in a stadium, whether it be in the UK or Spain. Do you hope that the UFC kind of capitalizes, gets a big venue for it? It feels pretty historic, this fight.
I hope the UFC give it the attention that it deserves and the promotion that it deserves and the venue and the timing that it deserves because it is a huge fight. The only other fight that anyone was speaking about for the past year has been Jones Aspinall. And obviously
Yeah. Yeah.
that's been taken away from everyone. So everyone wants a fight now where there's bad blood. Everyone wants a fight where like you get some answers, and they also want to fight where they see two people that haven't lost in a long, long time fight each other till one of them loses.
Mm. Hey, I also want to ask, obviously Paddy's really big for the division. Do you foresee a time one day in the future, if you guys do become champion, where you move up and give welterweight a go, or do you think the foreseeable future will be at lightweight for Paddy?
Paddy likes to achieve goals and set standards, so I don't see that being out of the window at all. But he's also not stupid. Like I seen Taporia saying after I've defended this belt, I'm going to move up to welterweight, and I'm just kind of like delirious. I think a lot of guys are like delirious about like jumping up weight divisions. Yeah, there's going to be guys in the weight division you can beat, but can you imagine like Ilya versus like Ian Gary? He would never get anywhere near him. He'd never get anywhere near him at all. Or Shavkat or someone, one of them guys. Like you're talking about like a guy that's like 5'6", fighting guys like 6'2". It's like ridiculous.
Mm. Oh, dude. Well, I can't wait for this fight to come together. Hey, before I wrap up, I just want to find out from you, how do you see Paddy Pimblett beating Ilia Topuria in your mind as you think about this fight?
A bloody mess. That's what he's going to do. He's going to make his face a bloody mess. That's what I know is going to happen.
Awesome, dude. All right. Well, listen, it's all happening as we wrap up. Congratulations. I mean, this has been building for a while. We've been waiting to see Paddy get this big opportunity. Here it is. It's coming. What's your message to the fans? Maybe some of the doubters out there that don't really give Paddy much of a chance in this one.
Just watching, wait to see what happens. That's it.
Awesome. Well, there he is. Paul Rimmer, of course, check out Next Generation MMA in Liverpool. If you're down there, the account is below. You guys can follow him. I appreciate you, my friend. I can't wait for the fight to get locked in. Let's have another chat when he gets locked in.